It's the Unhappy Hour.
All right, everybody. We are back with Zak Baris, former NBA scout, current NBA consultant. Zach, what are you doing to get prepared for the season? You still got some clients? You still working in the NBA realm?
I still talk to people. Still involved.
Gotcha. Is there anything
Still doing my
particular you're doing this time of year?
Nope, nothing special.
Okay.
Literally nothing special.
Just more.
Getting ready for the season.
So let's talk about the season then. Which side do you want to start with? You want to start with the East or the West? Which is more...
let's start with the Eastern Conference.
Okay, we'll start in the Southeast. How about that? Wizards, Magic, Heat, Hornets, Hawks. What are you seeing happening here? I don't know who you want to start with.
I mean, let's just break it down by team and how they finished last year if you want to do that.
Sure.
Okay, so if you want to pull up last year's standings, I can go through that.
That would be what? The Hawks would be...
So the Hawks won over 60 games last year. They're not going to win 60 this year. Losing Damari Carroll is a huge loss for them. I see them in the high 40s to low 50s, and I think the Cavaliers really shot them back down to earth last year.
It was pretty abrupt. Like, that ride stopped.
I mean, the
real
Cavaliers
quick.
were a far superior basketball team, and you finally saw it come to playoffs. You know, when people are like, oh, Kyle Korver's injured or Sepulveda's out, and I'm like, okay, well, Kevin Love's out, Kyrie Irving's playing hurt, LeBron is a bad guy. The Cavaliers' backups in that series just dominated them. I think Atlanta, the high 40s, low 50s. I think they are a good basketball team. I think they overachieved last season. And you saw it in the second half of the season.
Yeah, they came
back
to
earth. They were not
earth.
that great in the second half of the season. They dominated in the middle of the season, the first half. And then towards the end, the last month and a half of basketball, they really just came down to earth.
Hey, you mentioned something just there about LeBron's back. You know, we're hearing that he's getting shots and he's still not cleared for the opening game. What do you make of LeBron's health right now?
I don't think it's a problem. He's never had health concerns his entire career. If it is, it's minor, and it's not going to affect the Cavaliers getting into the playoffs or where their seeding is really going to be. I'm really not worried about it.
Okay.
It's such a talented basketball team that really added a lot of pieces around them. You know, we'll get into that in a minute when we discuss the Cavaliers. But like I said, I don't think it's too concerning.
Okay. Let's see. Who was the next seed? Was that Wizards or Heat? Probably Wizards.
It would be the Wizards.
Yeah.
The Heat didn't make the playoffs.
Right.
So, again, Washington's one of those teams that's really stuck. I mean, they lost Paul Pierce. Otto Porter's ready to emerge. Otto Porter could wind up being the best player other than Giannis Antetokounmpo from that draft 2 years ago, the Anthony Bennett draft. Here's the thing with Washington. Washington is one of those teams that, again, is going to be in the high 40s, maybe get up to 50 wins. They're sitting right there again. It's like they're just missing that piece. If Kevin Durant, for some reason, leaves Oklahoma City and goes to Washington the next season, the Wizards are a complete team that can win in the mid-60s, low to mid-60s.
Could they
They'll
be
be a dominant basketball team. But until then, they're not going to really make that much noise. They're going to make a little bit of noise, but not enough noise to actually do anything.
You think?
Second round of the playoffs.
You think with Durant they're a title contender then?
But with Kevin Durant, yeah, of course.
Okay. Well, then let's bounce over to the Heat. You know, they're hopefully healthy. Well, I mean, they would say hopefully.
Well, the thing is, so you have a healthy Chris Bosh back. You have a full season of Hassan Whiteside. You added Goran Dragic to that team. You added Amari Stoudemire. You added your pieces back. It looks like a very, very good basketball team on paper. On paper, I see them winning somewhere in the mid-40s. I don't see them being a 50-win basketball team. I just don't see it.
And because there's a lot of big names you threw out there, and of course people want to say, well, Dwayne Wade's healthy, but we'll see how long that lasts.
But Dwayne Wade doesn't ever play more than 50 games in a season. It seems like so. For as healthy as Dwayne Wade is, take it with a grain of salt.
So,
they'll play their good basketball this year. There's no doubt. But don't forget, last year they played some good basketball games, and they clobbered the Cavs on Christmas Day, from what I recall.
Yeah, they did.
Clobbered them, and it's like the Cavaliers. When LeBron James left Cleveland and went to Miami, the Cavaliers were 6-8 or 6-9 going in that game. They were playing decent basketball. LeBron came into Cleveland and torched them. The Cavaliers season went on a downward spiral from there. Last year, I was at the Heat game when it was, around playoff time towards the end, and Dwayne Wade got hurt, and it was Miami's downward spiral right there, where they went in a free fall and fell out of the fifth seed of the playoffs in the Eastern Conference all the way out.
And they're that fragile still.
Yes.
Even with Chris Bosh back.
Yes, they're still a very fragile basketball team. I have a feeling Chris Bosh is healthy. I don't think he'd be coming back if he wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so.
So
I don't want to see anything bad happen to him
no,
necessarily.
not at all. I don't, like I said, I don't have any animosity towards the Heat anymore. It is what it is.
I
They
still-
won their
I
title.
still
LeBron's
have-
not there. He's not there anymore. It's like I'm sitting there hating him. I don't care.
I
They're
still
the
have
Miami
a
Heat.
rooting
Another basketball
interest.
team.
I still have a rooting interest against the Heat. I don't hate the Heat like I used to, but I mean, obviously,
It's
I'm not
the
going to
Heat
wish anything
fans.
bad on a
It's the
player.
Heat fans.
Yeah, well, there are
You know,
17
and the
of them.
thing is, like I said, I'm glad Chris Bosh is healthy. You don't want to see that happen to anyone. It's not like the guy's a terrorist. He's a basketball player. You know, he's not a bad guy. He's actually a very smart guy.
Although he might be a little too smart. I think I saw him. He headlined that blockbuster movie over the summer, Jurassic World. I think is the Velociraptor.
Yeah, he was in there. But I'm saying, though, Chris Bosh writes his own screenplays. I mean, he's actually a very smart guy. You know, you don't want to see that happen to anyone. You really don't.
Yeah, I hope he's healthy
it's
again too.
unfortunate.
Like that
I
could
don't
have
want to
killed
see that
him.
happen to any player in the NBA. I don't want to see it happen to anyone. I mean, he's not a bad person. Nobody deserves that.
Right.
You know, it was sad to see last year, and you're more concerned about the guy's health than you are, than of him even playing basketball again at that point. But, good to know that he's healthy. Well, like I said, I think Miami's a team that's going to be in the middle of the pack in the East. I think they're a good team. I think they're definitely a playoff team. I don't see them being number 1 or 2 or 3 seed, though, like some people are predicting.
Yeah, some people have them way up there. Dwayne
I
said
don't.
that
I don't think they're
everybody's-
better than the Cavs. I don't think they're better than the Bulls. I think they're going to be right around there with the Wizards. Maybe the record will be a little bit worse than the Wizards. I just don't see them winning over 50 games.
What do you see out of the Orlando Magic this season?
The Orlando Magic are one of those teams where you have a lot of really, really, really great young pieces, but do they fit together is the question.
When are we going to find out? How long is it going to take?
This season, I think you'll find out. They have a lot of young talent. They've got guys like Tobias Harris, Aaron Gordon, Vucevic. They've got a lot of talent guys. Victor Oladipo. They are very talented. Alfred Payton. They have a lot of guys that are talented. It's a matter of them coming together. I still think they're a team that's going to win in the low 30s this year.
You think they have the right coach?
It remains to be seen. I mean, usually what happens is young teams usually have turnover. They have a coach for a couple of years, and they wind up having turnover anyway.
Yeah,
You
might
know,
be the
it's
case.
what happens. It's
Well,
what happens. When you're ready to move on, you get rid of the young coach and you bring in a new one. It happens with every single organization.
well,
It was with Michael Jordan. It happened with Doug Collins to Phil Jackson. It happened with Paul Silas to Mike Brown in Cleveland. It happens everywhere. The same thing's going to happen with Byron Scott in L.A. in a couple of years.
well, you mentioned MJ in there. Let's talk about the Charlotte Hornets. What do you expect there?
That's a team that's just unfortunate. I had them, probably making the playoffs this year, but with Michael Gilchrist being out for the majority of the season, if not the entire season, is a huge, huge blow to that organization. Gilchrist is one of the best defensive players in the league. Yeah, he still can't shoot the three. I don't even think he attempted 8 3-pointer last season as a small forward, which is saying something. But like I said, that's tough to see. But, it is what it is. And the Hornets, I think, and also I'm not a huge fan of Frank Kaminsky. I don't understand why Michael Jordan's had this fascination with these 4-5s, they say these stretch 4, stretch 5 straight up, the guys like Kwame Brown, who we had a fascination with Washington, whether it's Cody Zeller, Frank Kaminsky, it seems like all the time with these guys. And that's been Jordan's fascination with these guys. I just don't see Kaminsky. I think he's going to get dominated early on. I just don't think he's ready for the pro game yet.
Well, let's talk about another team with another question mark of a high draft pick, the New York Knicks. Let's move over to the Atlantic Division. New York Knicks with their draft pick and another season of Carmelo. What are you expecting over there?
I see them to be in the 30s. I think they're going to win probably about 32 games this year. They added decent pieces in like Aaron Aflalo, Robin Lopez. I think Robin Lopez is very underrated. I think he's one of the best defending centers in the league.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Defensive centers in the league. I'm sorry. I think he's a very good player. I don't think he's as good as his brother Brooke, but I think he's a good player. I think he will contribute. And if Carmelo's healthy, I think they're going to be fine. In terms, I don't think they're a good basketball team. I don't think they'll be above 500. And it all depends if Porzingis is ready to contribute. I don't see him playing significant minutes and contributing a ton this year. But I see him putting – I do think after watching him in the preseason, I do think he'll wind up being a good player someday. I really do. I think he's very talented.
Yeah, that's the thing. The Miami Heat picked up a kid that might be the most NBA ready, and then the New York Knicks got someone that might have the highest
Winslow
upside.
he struggled this preseason anyway. So I don't know how the thing is, in the NBA, when is a rookie ever going to contribute positively to your team?
If you're LeBron.
It's very, very rare.
If you're Shaq.
Justice Winslow is not Shaq and is not LeBron. I don't see that's the problem is when you're a good basketball team, and this is what I'm saying about the Cavs last year. The Cavaliers did not have the time to commit to Andrew Wiggins.
I know.
To develop him. And that's the problem. When you're a championship contender, you do not have time to develop a 19-year-old kid.
But you just got to wonder, though, if
he wouldn't have gotten the playing time he needs. It wouldn't have gotten any of that.
But instead, we signed 2 power forwards in Tristan Thompson and Kevin Love.
Here's the deal, though. It's not like the Cavaliers sat there and lost that trade. Kevin Love's still on the Cavaliers roster for the next 5 years.
Right, he is.
Think about that. They got a 26-year-old who's been a multi-time All-Star, a 2-time All-Star, and can contribute at a high level. That's a guaranteed success when he's on the court. I don't see why people are saying the Cavaliers lost the trade. Andrew Wiggins is a great player. Yeah, that's great. Great for Andrew Wiggins. I'm glad he will be a great player. But at the same time, the Cavaliers did not lose that trade by any means.
All right. Well,
I don't ever want to. If the Cavaliers would have lost Kevin Love, we could rediscuss this, but they didn't. Still a Cavalier.
Yeah, it's just interesting that if that's the direction they wanted to go, that they didn't. I know, and it is what it is. We wouldn't have been able to sign Kevin Love in the offseason. You and I have talked about that just to an extreme, because for a while I just said, why couldn't we have our cake and eat it too? And you explained it. So we'll get to the Cavs, and we'll go in.
Like I said, it's, also LeBron is in a Cavaliers uniform because of it. I don't know if, I think LeBron, don't forget, LeBron was incredibly frustrated at times last year. Imagine playing with a 19-year-old rookie on that roster, how frustrated he would have been.
Yeah, that's true.
Imagine.
Well, I mean, we started the season off
with breakdowns with everything. Trust me, it would have never, ever worked.
We started off with Dion Waiters, remember?
Yes, and Dion Waiters. And I kept telling you what a nightmare that was. They were going to trade him. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. I kept saying they're going to trade him, and eventually they did.
And you were saying we were going to sign Tristan. Of course, it's not a huge secret, but I mean, it took a little longer. We'll talk.
But I knew he was going to sign. I just didn't know when. It was a matter of getting the final terms agreed upon. And like I said, he may have wanted that 5 for 95 or whatever he wanted. But, the Cavaliers were offering 5 for 80, and it was never taken off the table. They were a couple million apart at the end, and he signed. I'm very glad he's back because, people are going, I have to hear the other day, people going, oh, John Henson on Milwaukee puts up similar numbers. Numbers are not everything. Numbers mean jack shit in the NBA. They really do. Look at Ricky Davis. Ricky Davis put up numbers in the NBA. Darius Miles put up numbers in the NBA. They both suck.
Darius Miles and Ricky Davis.
There are guys on bad basketball teams that put up good numbers. John Henson's a good player, but give me Tristan Thompson any day for what the Cavaliers need. He's a perfect fit on the Cavaliers roster. It's exactly what they need. He spaces the floor and forces teams to make lineup changes. John Henson doesn't do that. Tristan Thompson will force a team to make a lineup change.
And that's big when you're trying to eliminate a threat and trying
Look
to
what Golden
play
State did.
chess.
They had to literally pull Andrew Bogut from their lineup completely because he was so ineffective against Tristan Thompson.
Yep.
It forced Steve Kerr's hand into making a change from a guy who's had an unbelievable season because he couldn't keep up with Tristan.
The change ended up working out for him, but,
Well, it did, but at the same time, the Cavaliers also have no depth. I mean, we'll get into that when we discuss the Cavaliers, but, Tristan finally signed. It was a good signing by the Cavaliers. I'm glad they didn't. If you have an owner who's willing to pay, what do you care what the Cavs are paying? Other people, I wouldn't pay him that much. I go, well, there's a reason you don't own the basketball team. The reason you don't own the Cavs. Be thankful you have an owner that's willing to have the second highest payroll in league history right now, and that's willing to pay every single dollar to win this team a title. Be thankful.
So this brings me to 3 comments off one of our older video. Actually, it was from, I don't know, it was from our show where we were talking about the Browns and Ravens, and we didn't really get into basketball. UFC is MMA said three things, and I wanted to highlight them real quick. Number one, he's talking about the early 90s Cleveland Cavs teams. He says, take away the LeBron years and look at the Cavs from year one in the NBA from 1970 to now. It's pretty bad. I had to go back and Google the Cavs teams of the 90s because I don't even remember them. And, of course, that's where the Darius Miles and Ricky Davis thing got funny, because after Brad Daugherty, Larry Nance, Mark Price, Craig Elo, that whole team of the late 80s, early 90s, they were bad for a while.
The mid-90s, they were still there. They had 5 bad years. It was 99 and 2000, 4 bad seasons in a row. They didn't make the playoffs. That was it.
Ricky Davis and Darius Miles. Who are some other Cavs legends? Some other wonderful players from that era.
Pagana Jop.
Yeah.
Kostakufos. Or not Kostakufos, he didn't play. And Semir Den.
Oh, Semir Den was recent, but he's still your favorite. You call him the Slug.
Yeah, if you watch him move up the court, he literally did look like a slug.
Okay. Any other great ones?
There's been some Manny Harris.
Man, when this team was trying... I did like Tyrone Hill, and I liked Terrell Brandon back in the day on some bad teams. But
Bob Sura. Don't forget, those teams made the playoffs, Brian.
All right. Yes, I'll remember that with their awesome jerseys that they're not really going back to.
I love those jerseys. The paint stained ones of the mid-'90s were my favorites.
See,
I really do. Those are my favorite jerseys of all time. I love them.
No, I would not also love those as much as you. I like the throwbacks to the
I love the 80s
70s.
and the 70s jerseys. Those are amazing. But the Cavaliers have had some great uniforms. I don't love their current uniforms now, but I like their alternate uniforms. The ones they debuted the other night that bring back the hardwood classics that they used to wear when LeBron was here. And they're wearing them and for the home opener, they're wearing like the 1980s Cavs ones, but wine and gold. So they're wearing those on opening for the home opener on I think Friday night next week. Nice. Or Thursday night, whenever it is.
Well, respond to this. UFC as MMA also said, here's how I view the Cavs organization. They're like a guy on welfare that wins the Powerball and pisses away all the winnings inside of 10 years, then goes back on being on welfare. That's how the Cavs got lucky. That's how lucky the Cavs got by winning the lottery and getting LeBron. They're so poorly run that the minute he leaves, the Cavs again in the future by retirement or however, they're going to be back on welfare.
They're not a poorly run organization. Look at them. Look who they have. Look who wants to play for them. They're not a poorly run organization. They had a few bad years when your star ditches you, and you're there pumping in money basically to sign a bunch of older veterans. It takes time to reacquire assets. They didn't necessarily didn't capitalize on other assets, but they got a freebie when they got rid of Anthony Bennett. They did. They got a free pass, and that draft was terrible anyway. 14 other teams, I think, passed on Giannis Antetokounmpo before he went to the Bucks. It's not like he would, he'll be the best player from that draft, but it wasn't like anybody was even considering with a top 5, top 10 pick.
Right. Well, hindsight is 20/20.
Don't forget the 2011 draft. The Cavaliers, Kyrie Irving has been an all-star. Tristan Thompson, look at what he did last year in the playoffs. It's not like the Cavaliers botched that draft either. It takes guys for them to mature in the league, and they didn't have any veterans. They were holding out. And look what happened. Yeah, that turned out that it was supposed to be a very bad draft class. But look who came out of it. Klay Thompson, Kawhi Leonard. That was a very, very talented class it turned out to be when people thought it was going to be, one of the worst ever.
It takes some time to figure that out. My reply to him was, nah, come on now. You know a rebuild is painful and it takes years. You also know that when you get close to a title, you need to do everything possible to lock the talent in and add some key players to get that chip while the window's open. My late 90s Cleveland Indians can tell you all about that because he was mainly commenting on Tristan Thompson overpaying as much as they did.
The problem with the Cavaliers is, the problem is, like I said, they had zero assets when LeBron left. They had nothing. Chris Grant, the one great thing he did is he traded and got a lot of assets. He made some great trades. He really stacked his team for the future and allowed David Griffin to do what he needed to do. Make moves, and David Griffin has done a fantastic job.
Yeah, I think they've done great.
For the turnaround, from what they've been able to do in 1+ season since LeBron came back, don't forget, last year this was not a complete roster. It was Kevin Love, Kyrie Irving, LeBron, and Tristan. Varejao wound up getting hurt. They didn't have a true center. The team did not have a true center. Now you've got, Now you've got your whole team in place, and we'll get to that when we talk to the Cavs. But, it's been pretty amazing that David Griffin's been able to do. I'll say that.
Right.
It's not as easy as you would think. Look at, I'll get into the Chicago Bulls in a minute, but let's continue on the draft. Let's continue on the teams we're at now, and then we'll get in there. And then because obviously, the Central Division is going to be the most talked about one between the Cavs and the Bulls.
It will. Well, okay. Before we get to that, let me address one more comment. Ben Simmons hasn't gotten the type of hype like Wiggins, but he's going to be better than him in the NBA. That's who you should check out this year at LSU. He's a Grant Hill type. What do you think of that?
I've been watching the kid since he was in 8th grade. Yes, and everybody knows he's going to be a stud. He's one of those guys that's a once in every 5-10 year players. He really, really is a great player.
Is he a LeBron type or a Shaq type or is he superstar?
Yes, he is a superstar. But like you said, we also thought Harrison Barnes was a superstar. Wait till the kid played his first collegiate game.
That's fair. Yeah. Yeah, and Andrew Wiggins and
everybody knew. I told you from day one. I'll never forget being on the show going, Anthony Davis is the guy to watch. I would trade Kyrie Irving. I'd give all of our first round picks to trade for Anthony Davis. That's how good I was telling him he was going to be. At the time, the Cavaliers were the number one overall pick they needed.
Yeah, didn't work out that way, but we got another good player.
If they would have gotten that number one overall pick and paired Kyrie with Anthony Davis, oh my God. And all that happened is they tied with New Orleans for that pick. If the Cavaliers would have flip-flopped on a coin, they'd have Anthony Davis right now. Think of that.
I don't want to think of
that.
Now,
they probably wouldn't have Anthony Bennett. They wouldn't have had Andrew Wiggins. There's no way they would have even gotten close to the first overall pick because Davis was that much better. But wow, they would have been disgustingly good.
Yeah. Well, don't make me think about that too much, because then it's just going to get painful if I got to think about that. Speaking of painful, I got to ask, before we get right back into our teams, Lamar Odom. What do you make of this whole situation with Odom and the brothel and Khloe Kardashian?
I'm not surprised. I've been seeing it for the last 2 years. So my driver in L.A. who used to drive me to the airport and stuff, I'm not going to mention names, there were 2 of them, but both of them were Lamar Odom's drivers. I'll never forget going into TMZ one time and going, it sounds like, I might as well just mention his name. They go, hey, it's Cameron. He's on the cover of TMZ, walking around a steel wall at CBS. Buying Lamar's crack sponge. Lamar, like I said the other day before Chris Rock said, I go, unbelievable how you can go and overdose, give a ton of coke, bang hookers, and get your wife back. Only in a Kardashian family would that happen.
Up is down, left is right.
Everything the Kardashians touch somehow turns out messed up. Scott Disick's in rehab. Lamar Odom's fighting for his life. Bruce Jenner's now a woman. Everything that family touches.
What an interesting... Well, the OJ thing. That's how the dad got involved in this in the first place.
Everything that family touches, something has an issue.
So the one thing to look forward to is Kanye West. Something's going to happen there?
He's already a weird dude, and Tiger's sleeping with a bunch of, trannies, it seems like, from what I've heard, dating one of the younger daughters. So, the whole family's so messed up. You would never want to get involved with that.
You just went so TMZ on me. All right.
I'm just saying, though, look at everything that's happened to them. Would you really want to be a part of that family?
Yeah, I totally understand. The meme that came out where it's explaining, a bender and $45,000 and hookers and blow and this and that.
75,000.
Yeah, 75,000, and it's Charlie Sheen saying, "I call that a Tuesday," or something like that.
The thing is, Lamar was a great guy too. I actually saw Lamar. I didn't talk to him. I saw him in April in Las Vegas, though. I saw him in Vegas in April.
Did he look okay?
He looked fine to me. I saw him. He looked fine. He didn't look like there were any issues. He looked fine.
Well, we all thought he was dead about a week ago, so, we'll follow the situation.
I'm glad he's back. Like I said, Lamar's one of those guys. He's always been a quiet guy. I don't think being with the Kardashians helped him being on reality TV. And I'd hope for his sake that, they just don't exploit it. I really hope they don't.
I'm gonna, yeah. I would not put money on that.
I'm sure they'll be exploited, but like I said, all I'm saying is I hope not.
Yeah, and, if he's the first person ever to reconcile a marriage by going that route, Hey, we're really blazing new territory here. Something I never thought I'd see. All right, let's get back into it. We talked about the Knicks. I don't know why we started there as the best team, but I mean, you're in the division with the Sixers and the Celtics and the Nets and the Raptors. So let's go to the Raptors. What's going on up there in Toronto?
Well, that's the question. Toronto signed Amari Carroll. Their defense was terrible last year. Terrible. It's something they've definitely tried to correct by getting Amari Carroll in there. They've brought in Anthony Bennett. I don't think that'll do anything. I think Toronto will be around what they did last year. I mean, I don't really see them being any better. I don't see them being much worse. The thing is, I think, again, they're going to have a great regular season like they always do and just sputter once it comes to the playoffs because they don't have a dominant scorer.
And it's just going to dog them the whole year.
Yeah. Like I said, it's not going to dog them in the regular season. It hasn't dogged them the previous year. I just don't think they can sustain. I don't think Toronto can sustain, going up against a Cleveland or even a Chicago or a Washington. We saw it last year. I mean, look at what John Wall can do. John Wall's a guy who can take over a game. Toronto doesn't have that. Kyle Lowry's a very good point guard, but Kyle Lowry can't take over a game.
DeMar DeRozan, he
can't take over a game either. DeMar DeRozan is one of the most overrated players in the NBA.
Ouch.
Always
Valanciunas.
has been.
Maybe Valanciunas will step up.
Like I said, he's a terrible defender. I would take Tristan over him any day, and it's funny because going into last season, Valanciunas was a superior player to Tristan. Not anymore. A lot of people in Toronto thought that they were going to wind up with Tristan next season.
Well, that was probably the only thing that made sense for a couple of reasons, him being Canadian and them having a little bit of money. But, those offers didn't come in for Tristan like they had thought. I mean, I can't believe he thought he was a max player.
I just don't think – I think anybody thought the Cavaliers were going to match anything that they could get. So that was the thing is nobody was even bothering.
Yeah, but it seems like we didn't get a discount that we should have then. I feel like we should have got a better discount then.
Well, whatever. I mean, it's whatever. They signed him for what they signed him for, and I think
it's
if you won't be upset if the Cavaliers win the title because of
no, but I want to make sure we have enough money to sign Mozgov, who's going to command some money.
They'll do what they need to do.
I think they will too. I'm not.
They're not going to let a center walk in free agency, especially if they win the title this year. And don't forget how much better of a player Mozgov is. But let's continue along until we get to the Cavs.
All right, Brooklyn Nets.
They're just a terrible team with a ridiculously high payroll. They're one of those teams that they're not going anywhere.
And they're the team that had the highest payroll in NBA history just a few years ago.
Yeah, last year.
I mean,
last year or 2 years ago. I don't know. I think it was last year.
I mean, just think about Joe Johnson at almost $25 million a year. I mean,
the Nets are, they got rid of Darren Williams. They're just a mess. I mean, they really are. And like I told you, Prokhorov, you don't win championships like that overnight. Prokhorov wasn't patient. This is something I've been reiterating on your show for 2-3 years now. 3 years. He just isn't patient. You can't just go and expect to sign 40-year-old veterans and expect them to put up huge numbers because of their names.
Yeah, and you think maybe the fan base will like it, but the fan base likes wins more.
Darren Williams, I mean, they went over the overpaid dudes. They made trades for guys who just, it just didn't belong there. And they went and did what they did, and they're paying the price for it now. And they traded a bunch of picks. They traded away Derek Favors. They traded away, I can't even, I'd have to go through it to look at all the guys they traded away. They traded Damian Lillard away, essentially, by trading for Darren Williams. I would take Damian Lillard and Derek Favors any day.
Over what it cost,
that's what happens when you're not patient.
Yeah, the Cavs were patient.
That was for Gerald Wallace. They traded away the 6th overall pick to draft for Gerald freaking Wallace to try to keep Darren Williams.
Well, the Cavs were patient. They had to be. Nobody was we had
they
a
didn't
lot
have
of...
to be. Dan Gilbert could have gone out there and said, Chris Grant, listen, let's go out there, let's overpay some of these guys, and let's go out there and overpay these guys, and we're going to be a 40-win team for the next, we're going to be a 40-win team for the next couple of years.
Yeah, that might not have worked out as well. I'm happy
he
things
could have
did.
done that, though. He could have done it. You can sit there and overpay guys and not get your ring and do what you got to do. But it doesn't always lead. It doesn't lead to success.
Right.
Like I said, the NBA is an all or nothing league. It's not like baseball where a team gets hot and can suddenly win. It happens in baseball all the time. We've seen far less superior teams win the World Series because they get hot at the right time. We've seen it in the NFL too. Not always the best team wins the Super Bowl. We've seen it. It doesn't always happen, but it does happen. Any given Sunday, it's one game. In basketball, the elite talent 90% of the time pulls away with the win in the playoffs.
Hey, speaking about pulls away in the playoffs, Kelly Olynyk and the Boston Celtics.
The Celtics are one of those teams that are voided of a superstar, but I expect David Lee to have a good season. I think for Chauncey, I bet the Celtics win somewhere in the mid-40s.
So we might meet him again at one point?
Yeah, there's a decent chance we'll meet the Celtics again. I have the Celtics in the playoffs.
And you think the Kelly Olynyk thing is going to be water under the bridge?
No, not at all. I think when Boston comes here, if I were him, I'd come down with the flu or something. It's not going to go over well.
I could not imagine it going well. It's those times you're waiting for Anthony. Kendrick Perkins. Sorry, I was saying Anthony Davis. It's good to have a Kendrick Perkins on your team. What do you? I don't want to talk about the Cavs. We'll get to the Cavs in a second. Let's talk about another team, super young, lots of draft picks, going slow but going nowhere. The Sixers.
Philadelphia. So the 76ers. I love Julio Okafor. He's my pick for Rookie of the Year.
Okay.
I love Julio. I really do. I think he's going to be a spectacular player in the NBA. But like I said, the Sixers, when are they going to start bringing in talent? Don't forget, Joel Embiid still hasn't seen the floor. I can't even think, what's his name, who was the 10th overall pick last year, isn't even on the team yet. It's driving me nuts right now who it is because I'm not looking at my computer. But again, another European player. I don't know why I'm blanking on this right now. I'll think of it in a second. As soon as we're done talking about the Sixers.
Wait, you mean the player that they stashed?
Yes. But Philadelphia needs to develop their talent. You can't sit there and let guys play overseas for years. They're so far below the cap, which is great. But at the same time, they're going to hope to get Ben Simmons in the draft this year. That's what they're banking on. But like I said, the lottery is a crapshoot. It's a lottery for a reason.
Yeah. A lot of good players, but, after all of these picks...
Not even a lot of good players. They only have a couple first-round picks on that roster.
Yeah.
Philadelphia really is devoid of talent other than Nerlens Noel and Julio Okafor. Yeah, it was good that they picked up Nick Stauskas. I like that pick. I'd like to see him get some playing time. He's a former lottery pick from 2 years ago. I really like to see him get some playing time. Or a year ago, even. From a year ago. I'd like to see Stauskas get some playing time.
Well, we're going to find out. We're going to find out what kind of coach we have with Brett Brown and how they run things. Let's get over to, let's avoid the Bulls. Let's avoid the Cavs. Let's talk about the Pistons. Start there.
The Pistons are, again, one of those teams that definitely needs to – the Pistons need – some talent on that basketball team. They've had some really bad signings. I don't know if Andre Drummond's going to stay there.
Wait, you don't know if he's going to stay there? Why did he re-sign there then?
I don't think he has. He didn't re-sign long term.
Wait, I thought he did. Was that a...
No. I'm saying he's not going to re-sign long term.
Oh, what the heck was I thinking of? Because I thought I recalled... I don't know.
Reggie Jackson signed long term, and they overpaid Reggie Jackson.
Okay, I would he get $75 million, something like that?
$80 million. He's not even worth it. He's not that good.
And what did Tristan get? 82.
The thing is, Tristan's not the focal point of your team. You've got an owner that's willing to spend and go way above the cap to retain your own players. Reggie Jackson's Detroit's second best player.
Oh man,
that's the problem.
Okay, by the way, yes, you're absolutely correct. I don't know what I misread, but Andre Drummond elected not to sign the long-term extension with the Pistons before next month's deadline in a partnership with the team to increase salary cap space. Team coach and president Stan Van Gundy said Tuesday he was a strong candidate to sign up to a 5-year, $120 million maximum contract by the November 2nd deadline, but after consulting with the team, he will delay making any commitment until next July when he'll become a restricted free agent.
I mean, obviously Detroit's going to sit there and re-sign him because they're going to match any offer, so he's a Piston for at least another cheap for this year and next year.
What do you think of that move? You think it's a smart move? You saw Tristan bet on himself and win.
I'm going to say Drummond. Any team will be willing to sign Andre Drummond. He's going to be a great player. I just don't think he would stick with the losing in Detroit. He gets no notoriety being with the Pistons. I really just think it's a bad organization to play basketball in right now.
Okay, fair enough. So then we don't know what's going on with the Pistons in that regard.
No, they're going to be a bad team again.
All right, we don't know.
I do like the Stanley Johnson pick, but I just don't know where he fits.
Okay. But we think that they're not going to be fantastic this year. What about the Pacers?
No, they're not going to be fantastic.
With some more health. What about the Pacers?
The Pacers are one of those teams that's interesting because they have Paul George playing power forward this season. They got rid of Roy Hibbert. They lost David West. They're going to be very interesting. I think the Pacers are going to be better than people think, though. I think Paul George is that good.
Even after that gruesome injury?
Yes.
Yeah, that was rough to watch. Glad he's back. I mean, as long as we beat him and win the division, of course. But, yeah, happy to see him back. But, okay, so Paul George is that good, but now with losing all those other players, who do they have that can step up this year?
They've got George Hill. They do have some talent. I like the pick of Miles Turner. I really think Indiana's going to be one of those teams that can sit there and surprise a little bit.
Monte Ellis, maybe?
I'm not a big Monte Ellis fan. I never have been.
That's fair.
I've never been a big Monte Ellis fan. So,
but you could see the Pacers doing a little bit better than your
average
to low average.
Their offense is going to be a totally different. They've been voided of offensive talent for years. Now I finally think they're going to see Indiana score some points. I mean, it's a totally different look than what they've had in years past.
Well, it's kind of a different look with Jason Kidd in Milwaukee going to the playoffs and playing some tough games. What do you make of the Milwaukee Bucks this year?
I love the Milwaukee Bucks. I don't think they have a genuine, true superstar yet, but they have a lot of talent. They have a lot of talent, whether it's Chris Middleton, Antetokounmpo. I think getting Jabari Parker back is going to be huge. I think the Bucks win close to 50 games this year. Wow.
So where do you think they're going to rank when it all shakes out in the East?
It's hard to say. I would say somewhere in probably the middle, right, 4 or 5 seed.
Okay. Yeah, I guess we'll wrap it up kind of picking our seeds. But that's going to bring us over to the Chicago Bulls. A lot of changes there. It's an organization we're both familiar with, and so is UFC's MMA because that's his favorite team. But let's talk about the Bulls. What's going on there?
So the Chicago Bulls are, again, another team. What do they do to improve this offseason?
They got Derrick Rose healthy. Kinda.
Okay, but he was healthy last year in the playoffs.
New coach.
Were they better than the Cavs?
New coach. Hoiberg. New coach. That's what
Hoiberg will be a much better offensive coach for them. He's a better fit.
Okay. So they did that. I mean, that can make a difference. The Dodgers just got rid of Mattingly, or he got rid of them. Coaches can make a difference. I mean, you're finally going to see offense here, you would think. Yeah, but again, Chicago is a good team, but their age, don't forget, Joakim Noah was bad last year. He was not very good. Pau Gasol's he's a year older than he was. And age starts to get toll when you're in your mid-30s. 35. I just don't see them beating the Cavs. Chicago's a 50-win team. I think they're the same as they have been. You think, what kind of season do you expect out of Derrick Rose? I expect him to be healthy for probably 50 games. I don't see Derrick Rose playing 80 games this year, even 70. I just don't see it. What about Jimmy Butler? You think he's going to step up? I love Jimmy Butler. He's one of my favorite players in the NBA. Yes, I think he'll step up. Okay. And I think Jimmy Butler's getting better and better. But like I said, the Bulls are a team that's going to win about 50 games, maybe 52, 48 to 52. I've got them at 50.
my guess is they're probably the second best team in the East.
Still the second best.
But,
All right.
Yep, but don't forget, their counterpart, Chicago really hasn't done anything to get better. They didn't sign anyone in the offseason to get better, to improve. Okay, let's now take a look at Cleveland. Okay, Cleveland didn't lose anyone. They lost Sean Marion, they lost Mike Miller, and they lost Brendan Haywood. Okay,
Wow.
3 guys that are beyond over the hill. These are the pieces they've added. Added Richard Jefferson, who still is a good player. Definitely added depth off the bench. You added Mo Williams, who's another big piece. He shares up the backup point guard position. And you added Sasha Klein. You have a legitimate backup center now. So you now go in there with your front court, having pieces as Mozgov and Love as your starters. You have Anderson Varejao off your bench, Tristan Thompson off your bench, and Sasha Kwan off your bench. You have 5 guys now in the front court that can legitimately play minutes. And I mean, really, you have 4. We haven't seen. From what I've seen so far from Sasha Kwan, I think he will provide valuable minutes. I don't think he's going to play a bunch this year, but you at least have a backup center.
Let's say just to be specific, Tristan Thompson at 6'9". You got Kevin Love at 6'10". You got Sasha Khan and Anderson Varejao at 6'11", and then Mozgov at 7'1". You've got a bunch of big bodies down there, and you got some energy guys too.
Let's take a look at the Cavaliers' pieces last year. They had Varejao, Thompson, and Love. That's it.
And Varejao and Thompson are big energy guys.
Yep.
They frustrate other teams, and those second chance points and those tip backs, those deflate a team.
Is going to be a huge presence. It's one of the reasons why Golden State prevailed against the Cavaliers. They had more depth. They were able to go deep into their bench in the finals, which you rarely see.
Right.
Because most teams don't have that. Most teams are voided of talent after their 7th or 8th guy. Golden State is able to play 10 deep in the finals, which is unbelievable. You don't ever see that. Cleveland can do that. Now let's take a look at, you've got LeBron. You've got Richard Jefferson backing him up. Then you have J.R. Smith. You have Iman Shumpert, who will be back in December. Okay? Then at the 1, you have Kyrie Irving. You have Mo Williams and Matthew Dellavedova thereafter.
And Dellavedova being a third option instead of a second is going to be amazing.
Guys, I just named those. All those guys will be able to play minutes in the playoffs. All of those guys.
I lost track. How many is that? Mo Williams, Varejao, Tristan, J.R., Iman, Mozgov.
And then the 5 in the front court, LeBron and Jefferson are 7.
Kevin Love,
Shumpert
Sasha.
and Smith are 9, 12. There are 12 guys who can play legitimate minutes in a playoff game. We saw Dellavedova play 40 minutes in a championship game and win them the game.
And then your others are Joe Harris and James Jones also.
Oh, I totally forgot about James Jones.
He can play. He'll be playing.
13 guys.
Wow.
Okay, the Cavaliers are going to be just fine. They're the cream of the crop in the East. I think you're going to see them. I don't think the Cavaliers. Can the Cavaliers, if they wanted to, easily win 60 games this year? Yes. No doubt in my mind. Are they going to? I think it's around 57, 58. You're going to see these guys resting a lot this season.
Yeah, I think keeping everybody rested and healthy is going to be of the utmost importance.
They realize how important it is.
I mean, LeBron knew it last year, but I guess, he probably had to do a lot more the whole time getting up there, even though he was the last man standing. I think the season did take a lot out of him.
But this year, your goal is to not play LeBron as much, get him healthy, and just get him to dominate in the playoffs again. They walked all over the East last year, and if they were healthy, they would have beaten Chicago in 4, maybe 5.
Yeah, minus that bank shot that I still don't think Derrick Rose called.
You watched the Cavaliers last year in closeout games. They dominated Boston in the closeout. They dominated Chicago in the closeout in Game 6. Clobbered them. It wasn't even a choice. They went to Chicago and whooped them in Game 6. Whooped them on their home floor.
There are some seasons where it's like you're set up, at least in theory, to be really good. And you just go, man, can we just fast forward to the playoffs and stay healthy? Can we just, skate through this?
Exactly. And then look what they did to Atlanta in Game 4. They clobbered them. They put down an old-fashioned beatdown on all 3 of those teams in the East. When they showed them their backs were against the wall and they needed to win the series, bam, they crushed them. Cleveland is a far superior team to the Chicago Bulls. Mark my words on that one.
And there's
Mark
really
my
nobody
words.
else. Who else would you say? Let's go. Okay, so Cavs won.
Chicago, hold on real quick. Chicago didn't say they didn't have Gasol. Cleveland didn't have Kevin Love. Kyrie Irving again wasn't healthy. LeBron played his worst series ever.
Trying to do everything.
Okay, let's bring it back. You bring a healthy Cavaliers team out, my guess is they win it in 4. I would not be surprised if you see the Cavaliers sweep the Eastern Conference next year in the finals. I mean, in the Eastern Conference. I said going into the playoffs this year that there was a chance they could do it, and, trust me. The Cavaliers went 12-2.
Yeah, we were close to doing it with 2 star players being down,
12-2. It shows you what they can do against playoff teams. I'm not worried about them at all.
No, I'm sorry. I guess when it was the Bulls, we had Kyrie. He wasn't quite healthy, and LeBron wasn't quite healthy.
Kyrie wasn't healthy at all.
Yeah, he was in and out. You're right. But he was still he didn't totally blow out until the first game of the Warriors. But yeah, I get your point. So if the Cavs are 1 and the Bulls are 2, who do you see at 3?
At 3, I still have the Atlanta Hawks, just because they had a great season last year. I still have them being a good team.
Okay, Hawks at 3. What at 4?
I'm going to have the Washington Wizards at 4, the Milwaukee Bucks at 5.
Okay.
I'm going to have the Miami Heat 6, the Toronto Raptors 7th, and then my 8th seed, I got to see who's left. Who do I have left on the board? I'm going to have the Pacers at 8.
Pacers 8. Okay.
I didn't even, you know what? I just totally realized I left out the Celtics.
Okay. So who gets bumped?
Honestly, I don't know. I think it's going to be Miami. I mean, not Miami. I think it's going to be Indiana and Boston fighting for that 8th spot. So I think you're finally going to see the first time in years all 8 teams in the East above 500.
Oh, now there's a prediction. Okay, that's a big one.
That's my prediction.
it has been weak for a while.
All 8 teams in the East this year be above 500.
Okay. So does that mean?
So I'm going to go. You know what? I'm going to go with Indiana. I'm going to play it too. I cannot see the Pacers missing the playoffs. I really can't.
Okay. So does that mean though that if the East gets better, does that mean the West gets not as good? They lose a little.
Or those bad teams are just that much worse.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Yeah, that's true. All right. So there's our top playoff teams in the East. How about the West? You want to start with the cream of the crop? Where do you want to start? Northwest, Southwest, Pacific?
Well, either way, give me a team. I'll pick them.
All right, let's go into the Northwest with the Nuggets, the T-Wolves, the Thunder, the Blazers, the Jazz.
Oof.
Yeah.
That's a rough one. There's one good team in that division. Okay, pick a team. Let's go from the bottom. Let's start from the bottom.
Oh, okay.
So pick your team. Is it the Nuggets?
Yeah, let's go Nuggets.
All right. I mean, the Nuggets are one of those teams. Danilo Gallinari is their best player. Emmanuel Mudiay is going to turn the ball over a lot. Denver's really one of those teams that's voided of talent. They're not really worth even discussing. They're going to be terrible this season. They're probably going to win around 20 games.
Oh, we got to make sure that we rank our worst teams when we're done. I don't want to forget about that.
We'll get that too. Denver's going to be very, very bad. There's some very bad basketball teams.
What about T-Wolves or Jazz? Who ranks lower?
The T-Wolves are going to be fun to talk about. They're going to be fun to watch. They're going to be one of those league pass teams. They're going to be very fun to watch. Karl Anthony Towns, I love him as a prospect. I like Andrew Wiggins a lot, obviously. I think they're going to try and maybe move Ricky Rubio. It's my guess. It's going to be one of my predictions. I see Minnesota is going to try to move Ricky Rubio at some point during the season. I don't know when.
Where do you think he might be wanted? Where do you think a good match could be, in theory?
I could see a fit maybe being in New York. I've just always seen it there. I mean,
what would the T-Wolves want to get back? Are they just trying to get rid of him, or who do you think they're going to try to get back, or what type of?
I really have no clue, but I do see him being dealt.
Okay,
I really do. I don't know at this point. It's way too early to tell. When the season starts and you see guys not functioning with teams and not playing properly, and they seem out of place, is when I can start predicting who's going to go and who's going to be traded, and then you can start picking pieces and saying, "Oh, Rubio's going to be traded for this guy." But at this point, I can't even tell you.
So that'd be like
all I know is that he's on the block.
So that's like the Dion Waiters theory, or the Dion Waiters effect.
Yes. I have a feeling Ricky Rubio will be traded before midseason.
All right. What about the Jazz?
I love this team. I really do. They don't really have a superstar, but Gordon Hayward's good. I love Rudy Gobert. Love the guy. I like Derek Favors a lot, too. I think Utah's going to be one of those teams that could really sneak into the playoffs this year. They're so good defensively. I really like them. They're going to be fun to watch. Losing Dante Exum is a huge blow to them, though. Huge blow. But like I said, I still see Utah being a decent team. They're going to win around. They'll probably win around 40 this year. I think they're one of those teams on the upswing.
What about the Blazers?
Ooh, They're going to be rough. It's going to be very, very tough. All they really have is Damian Lillard. I mean, don't forget, you lost Robin Lopez, you lost Wesley Matthews, you lost Nicholas Batum, and you lost LaMarcus Aldridge. I mean, talk about losing 4 of your best players. I mean, there's not much left.
Are they in full rebuild mode?
Yeah, I mean, they really are. Stack the assets, get in some guys, and then go and spend your cap money in a couple of years. It's a great basketball city, so it kind of sucks to watch them be bad.
Yeah, that is too bad. I keep meaning to make my way up to Portland. It's on my short list. I know it's maybe your favorite city outside of Oklahoma City, who we'll talk about next, the Thunder.
I would say I actually like Portland. It's a very nice town.
Oh, I know. I was making a joke because you don't like
I don't have a bad
Oklahoma
word
City.
to say about that city. It's actually a really cool town.
Which is the opposite of OKC.
Other than there are too many hipsters in Portland, but
too many beards and flannels in an ironic way.
yeah, like everybody looks like Al Borland from
Scarves and thick man glasses.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Portlandia. Well, what do you make of OKC? They're the cream of the crop in the
They're
Northwest.
one of those teams that's very interesting because they finally played Bennett, their owner, finally decided to spend his cash.
Finally.
When the money's on the line, when Kevin Durant is finally about to leave, he spends the money.
Is it too little too late after losing Harden?
I don't know. It might not be too little too late. If they go and win a championship this year, they're one of those teams that can, but getting out of the West, you need to be completely healthy. It's going to be very, very difficult to get out of the West.
That's crazy. Do they have to play tougher in the West then because those top seedings mean so much different?
Oh, no, they make a huge difference with home court advantage. Imagine having to go to San Antonio, to Golden State, to Houston, to L.A. to face the Clippers. Home court advantage is more important in any sport, I think, in basketball than any other sport. Baseball teams can win on the road all the time. Even football teams can win on the road. In basketball, you rarely see teams win on the road. Usually series are closed out at home.
And there are quite a few tough teams in the West. And so you say if the Thunder are healthy, they could be the team that could emerge. They could be.
Yes, they could emerge. If Westbrook's there, I think limiting Deion Waiters' play is going to be the biggest thing. He's incredibly frustrating to play with, especially he does not mesh with Russell Westbrook. And this Cantor's bad defensively, but they really need maximum effort out of Serge Ibaka this year. They need a healthy Kevin Durant. And if those all go according to plan, Oklahoma City, there's a very decent chance that we could see the Thunder in the championship. But, like I said, I still see them being the third or fourth best team in the West.
All right, let's bounce to the Southwest. Let's start with, Pelicans.
The Pelicans are one of those teams, again, I love Anthony Davis. I really, really like what they can do. I think they're going to make a big jump this year. I think they'll probably win around close to 50 games.
What's going to make them make the jump the most, other than Davis?
Just Anthony Davis's improvement.
Oh, okay, so
also
just
getting
Davis.
back to healthy Drew Holiday. I think that helps big time.
All right. Well, we'll keep an eye on it because they were definitely one of those teams that kind of came on late and introduced themselves to the rest of the league. What about the Grizzlies?
I think the Grizzlies are a great team, but again, they're sitting in the same spot they've been sitting. They don't have enough offense to really go and make that leap to beating, a Golden State. We witnessed it last year. They were out without Mike Conley, so I'll give them that. But again, I think Memphis is a very good team. I just don't think they're good enough to get out of the West.
Yeah, they're sitting there in a tough division with the Pelicans. How about the Houston Rockets?
I love what the Rockets are doing. I love that they added Tywan Lawson. Yeah, as a buy low, they bought him for barely anything. When Ty Lawson's healthy and he's all there and he's not getting into trouble, he's one of the best point guards in the NBA. I think Houston has, between Dwight Howard, between a lineup of Dwight Howard, Terrence Jones, James Harden, Tywan Lawson, and Trevor Ariza, I think they're a very, very good basketball team.
Are they enough? Do they have the potential to emerge out of the West?
They do. I think this year, adding Ty Lawson, they do.
All right. Mavericks, are they done?
Speaking of the Houston Rockets,
yeah.
I'm just saying, though, adding Lawson was a huge, huge bonus to what they were doing. I mean, you look at this team, they still have Patrick Beverley as the backup point guard now. They added Sam Decker. I mean, this team is really, really stacked.
Deep.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I don't know if Dwight Howard can develop that killer gene.
I still don't see them coming out of the West, though. Like I said, San Antonio's still better and Golden State's still better, and I think a healthy Oklahoma City's still better.
Okay, so maybe this team might be the 4 or 5 somewhere.
Yeah, I think they're the fourth best team in the West.
All right, Mavericks. What do you make of them?
They added Wesley Matthews, but I think losing DeAndre Jordan just, really, because they got rid of Tyson Chandler because of it.
Yeah.
And, I just don't see them.
That DeAndre Jordan thing was so weird.
Yeah.
I could just imagine if that had happened to the Cleveland Cavaliers or something. I would be, yeah, that's a tough loss, especially like you said, because you lose a player expecting to get another player, and then you're 0 for 2, and you just really hurt yourself. Yeah, and it's Dirk Nowitzki. It's another year older, dude's 37. So anchoring the team, you just got to kind of think about that, how they're built. Let's talk about a team with another great old player. Talk about the San Antonio Spurs. But first, talk about Popovich coaching Team USA.
I'm glad Pop's coaching Team USA. I think it's going to be awesome.
In what way? Because Coach K is tough to...
leaving, but, it's Pop's turn now. I was surprised it was Pop. I was surprised he didn't go to Thibodeau. Just because Thibodeau's not coaching this year, so I thought, maybe we'd go to Tibb. So I'm glad it's Pop. I really am.
How much extra work is it for a coach? How much, because players get burned out, but that's more physical.
During the offseason, not during the season. So,
right. Well,
and you have your assistants too, so I think they'll be fine.
Okay. So then you got the Spurs, and of course the big ad with LaMarcus Aldridge. What does that do to the team now? Duncan's 39 and Ginobili's 38, and the team's getting real old. But talk about what it means to reload someone like LaMarcus.
LaMarcus is the top 10 player in the NBA. Imagine San Antonio, team that won the finals 2 years ago. Last year they were a step short. They just didn't have it. We'll throw LaMarcus Aldridge on the team. How much better are they? Way better.
Yeah. Are they the favorite to come
Leonard's
out?
young. LaMarcus Aldridge isn't old. LaMarcus Aldridge is 30. But, wow. Is he damn good. He's one of my favorite players. I think San Antonio, if they're healthy, wow. I don't see anybody beating them in the West if they're healthy.
Why do you like LaMarcus so much? What is it about his game that you...
He's just always been one of my favorite players. I've always been one of my favorite players.
But what makes somebody your favorite player? Someone that watches as much basketball
he
as you?
He can take over a game. That's what I love so much about him. He's always one of those guys. He can shoot from all over the court. The guy can sit there and make a 16, 18-foot jumper anywhere on the court. He's just so good.
Who are some of the other players at this stage of their career that you think can still take over a game in the NBA?
Obviously there's LeBron.
Right.
I don't think Kobe can do it anymore. I see what James Harden can, Kevin Durant can, especially Russell Westbrook. Chris Paul, when he gets on fire, there are some great players in the NBA. Even Carmelo still at this point can still help take over a game. Derrick Rose, we witnessed in Chicago during the playoffs, Derrick Rose can still do it.
Right, when healthy.
Yeah.
That's the same thing with D. Wade. We've seen that from him over the years, but it's if he's healthy. We could see Kyrie do it. How many did he put in last year?
Yeah, we've seen Kyrie take over a game too. Yeah. We saw it a couple times this year when he put over 50. He did it against San Antonio last year.
That's right. That was an overtime game. I remember watching that one. We were down by a few. I went outside.
I remember I picked up my buddy at the airport. The Cavaliers were getting blown away in the car. I left for a few minutes to go pick them up. Came back home, listening to the game on the radio, and they're still losing. And all of a sudden, I'm watching this comeback. I'm like, oh my God! I was going nuts. And he goes, what do you mean the Cavs came back and won? And I was like, dude, they won. And I'm like, no, it's going to overtime. We were just down by 11 points.
Yeah, Kyrie is that good when he's healthy. He can do it. Anyone else that probably Anthony Davis, we would say.
Anthony Davis can too. Obviously, Steph Curry. Let's not forget that.
Steph,
Klay Thompson.
of course.
Let's not forget about the Warriors.
Oh, Klay could, but Steph could probably do it at any time. Klay,
I was going to say, yeah. Steph can do it any given night. We've witnessed it many times. The Golden State they are a fun team to watch. They really are. I'll give them that.
Well, that's down to our last division here, and we'll talk about them last because they're the reigning champs. Let's start at the bottom. Where do we start at the bottom? Do we start with the Lakers or the Kings?
The Lakers.
The Lakers. Hello, caller.
They stink.
Hello, caller. You wanted to talk about the Lakers. Go ahead. What's your name?
I'm not even going to do this tonight. I can't.
You're not gonna be LA sports radio talk show call-in
I could
guy.
do it. I could. Okay, we got like Julius Randle. We got like D'Angelo Russell. Hey, we're gonna win like 60 games this year, homie.
Hold on. You're saying 60? You're saying you can win 60 games with Julius Randle?
Well, so here. So the LA
He broke character. All right, go ahead.
I know. I'm talking with one of my friends from LA. He goes, dude, we're going to be good this year. What do you mean we're going to be good this year? He goes, dude, Julius Randle. I mean, Julius is a stud. You know, we got Roy Hibbert. He's an all-star. Kobe's back to form. D'Angelo Russell play unbelievable. You go, do you have any crack that you're smoking? You know, like what is wrong with you? There is no way.
Got Meta World
Russell,
Peace.
Judging by the preseason, doesn't look anywhere near ready. Kobe, there's no way he'll play in 82 games or even close to it. I see him playing in 40 to 60 max.
Yeah.
You know, he just isn't healthy. It's sad to see Kobe go out this way.
Like Peyton Manning a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. And then you see, you know, Julius Randle was injured all of last year. He's a rookie. Guy's a rookie. Played in one game. He's a rookie.
You got Larry Nance Jr., Nick Young, Meta World Peace.
I just don't see it going. When they're bringing back Meta World Peace to bring back the Laker fans. I mean, Meta World Peace has nothing left in the tank.
35 years
He
old.
even played last year.
Wasn't he Panda Bear Friend or something in China? He changed his name.
I don't know, something like that. I mean, I don't have time to follow the storylines of Meta World Peace at this point.
Oh, come on. You're giving me all the TMZ down low on Tyga.
I mean, I'm surprised they're not bringing back Lamar Odom.
Who knows? Maybe they will. It's a family reunion. Everything's coming back roses for the. So are the Lakers?
I see the Lakers winning somewhere in the low 20s. They are a really bad basketball team.
How bad? Let's do our worst
very
teams.
Bad.
Okay, so
very
who are the worst of the worst? Who do you think is going to get the number one pick, provided the lottery doesn't screw it up?
I think the worst team in the league. I don't know who's going to be the worst, but I have Denver. Denver will be bad. Minnesota will be very bad. The Lakers will be terrible. The Sixers will be terrible. Who else will be terrible? Lakers, Sixers. I don't know why I'm forgetting some other team here.
Hornets,
the Knicks will be.
Pistons.
The Hornets won't be terrible. They're not going to be terrible. The
Pistons.
Hornets will win somewhere in the 30s. They're not a terrible basketball team.
Pistons.
No,
Hornets.
Pistons again are sitting right there in the 7th or 8th worst team in the league.
Hornets.
I just said the Hornets aren't that bad.
Oh, okay, sorry. How about the Hornets? No, I'm just kidding. All right, so pretty much Nuggets, T-Wolves, Lakers, Sixers, they're all going to be fighting for that number one pick.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, then let's move on to Sacramento then. I mean, Sacramento's, again, one of those teams. They're not going to do anything. It's sad to see. I see DeMarcus Cousins as being another one of those players that's going to get traded this year.
Well, yeah, that's been the rumor for a while, and he tweeted out about Tristan's deal. How much? You know, he's not happy with his situation at all.
No, he's not happy. And I see him getting dealt at some point this season. I wouldn't even be surprised to see Cleveland somehow come into the picture.
With the Haywood deal? Do we still have that, or is that officially
the Cowboys
gone?
would obviously have to give up talent if they're going to get DeMarcus. But I don't see it happening. But like I said, it would not surprise me to see him get involved, to see somehow the Cavaliers would be in talks in a trade. Would not surprise me.
Who do we have
I think
to
whoever
give?
gets DeMarcus, though, is getting a player. Here's another problem, too. Rajon Rondo, what does he have up in the tank? Is he going to be like he was with Dallas? Is he going to be terrible? Or is he going to go back to the Rajon Rondo from 3-4 years ago, which is one of the best point guards in the league?
What a weird story he is. I mean, he was the future of the league for a few minutes there. He's the one that everyone was looking at, like, oh, Rajon Rondo. Wow, he's gonna be the next coming of insert good point guard here. Yeah, I don't know. Look at Willie Cauley-Stein, DeMarcus Cousins, Collison, McLemore, Rondo.
I just don't see them doing anything. They're again going to be one of those teams that wins about 30 games.
Isn't Bellinelli somebody that can take over a game?
I actually like Marco Bellinelli. He's just on a bad basketball team.
Nah, not to knock him. I was just clowning around. Okay, so those are the Kings. Those are the Lakers. How about the Phoenix Suns?
Suns, again, are one of those teams that's going to be stuck in the mid-40s. You know, they added Tyson Chandler, which was great. They would have had LaMarcus Aldridge. They would have been a legitimate contender in the Western Conference.
And that was a rumor for a while. Yeah, that was a rumor in the beginning. They weren't able to make it happen.
They would have been a legit contender with Tyson Chandler and LaMarcus Aldridge in their front court. And with with Brandon Knight in your backcourt along with Eric Bledsoe, that would have been one of those teams that would have been a legitimate contender. And in the Western Conference
Yeah,
if that would have happened. Again, they're sitting there somewhere in the 40s. I think they're sitting there at the 8th seed or the outskirt of the playoffs.
Because you're a big Bledsoe fan, right?
Big Eric Bledsoe fan, yeah. And I like Brandon Knight too.
All right. What about the Los Angeles Clippers? Obviously, DeAndre Jordan ending up
Clippers
back there.
I have as the 5th seed in the West right now.
5th seed. Oh.
Yes.
And why is that? Where do you see that they're not as strong as the other teams?
I mean, what did they add this offseason where they're so much better? Josh Smith. I mean, come on. I just don't see it. I mean, why are they so much better than they were a year ago? I think Paul Pierce is a great, nice addition, but I don't think Paul Pierce is that much of a difference maker at this point in his career.
All right. Well, like you said, Chris Paul being one of those guys that could take over. We've seen Blake do some good stuff, and obviously getting DeAndre back was a big deal. They would have slipped real far down if they wouldn't have had DeAndre back there, wouldn't they?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, that would have been a big loss. I would have seen them down in the low 40s.
Sure. Well, let's wrap it up here with the Golden State Warriors, the reigning champion, and they've heard it all off season. You got lucky. You got lucky. I think at points they were lucky, but they were the best team in the league. They won a title. You got to give them for what it's worth. I mean, the Cavaliers put up a fight, but they won. They earned it. They went out and took it. Nobody's going to hand you a title. They went out and took it, and they're bringing back most of their players. What kind of changes have you seen on their roster, if any significant ones?
They lost David Lee. That's it.
And how bad of it? How much is that going to impact him?
I mean, he played a big role in the finals. There's no doubt about that. But was he a big contributor all season? No, it was very minimal up until the final.
And part of that was, like you said, because Tristan was causing lineup problems with him, with Bogut on the other side.
Yep.
So, sometimes the moves work, sometimes they don't. So let's rank them 1 through 10. The best team in the West. Are you saying the Spurs?
Okay, I'm going with the Golden State Warriors at number 1 in the West.
Okay.
Best record-wise, based on playoff seeding, I'm going to go with the Golden State Warriors at number 1.
All right.
I'm going the San Antonio Spurs at number 2.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going with the Oklahoma City Thunder at 3. 4, I'm going with the Houston Rockets. 5 are going to be the LA Clippers. 6 will be the Memphis Grizzlies. 7 will be the New Orleans Pelicans. And 8, I'm thinking between the Jazz or the Suns. I'm going to go with the Utah Jazz.
Jazz over Suns with that one. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So then, I mean, would it be safe to say you're expecting a rematch in the finals?
I think we could easily see that. I kind of think it's going to be Spurs Cavs or Warriors Cavs. I really cannot pick one at this point for you, Brian. It's too difficult. But if I had to say one, I'm going to go with I'm going to go with the San Antonio Spurs. Just because I think LaMarcus Aldridge is that good, and they added David West.
Okay, so so you see them with a better record, the Warriors, but you don't see them beating the Spurs when it counts in the playoffs.
I'm saying if I just had to pick at this point, I want to give a little change. I'm going to go with, I've got to go with my gut at this point. I'm going to say the Spurs.
It's a little bit more of a coin flip to you, though, is what you're saying. It could go either way.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Whew, man, that's a lot of NBA action. I mean, who's Rookie of the Year? Who's going to come out and get that?
I said Jahlil Okafor.
Okay.
I'm going to go Jahlil Okafor, then Karl Anthony Towns, then D'Angelo Russell. Those will be my top 3.
And then D'Angelo. Okay.
And MVP, I'm going to go with LeBron, then Steph Curry, and then James Harden.
You think LeBron's going to play enough to be in the conversation?
That's the one thing which I don't know if he will. I also think if Anthony Davis really takes that leap forward, I think he has a legitimate shot this year. I don't even like picking the MVP at this point because I still think LeBron's the most valuable player, but I don't know if LeBron's going to play the most I don't know if he's going to play the minutes.
Right, and when they're fighting a little bit harder out there in the West and they need everybody to stay strong that whole season, they might get more games out of them where, if the Cavs are playing the Sixers or the Pacers or the Pistons or, the Hornets or somebody, they might be able to give LeBron a little bit of rest. Okay, comeback player of the year? Anybody have a real down year or an injured year that you expect to kind of bounce back?
Paul George. It's going to be Paul George.
What kind of numbers do you expect out of him? Even though numbers aren't everything.
His regular numbers. I actually think you're going to see him I think you're going to see his offensive numbers be very good.
Okay. Coach of the year? David Blatt?
Ooh. I think Hold on. I don't think I think David Blatt could win it.
Hoiberg.
I think I'm going to go out there and say I think Brad Stevens has a chance. I think in Boston, depending on how they do. But again, is it going to be Popovich? Is it going to be Steve Kerr? Is it going to be David Blatt? Is it going to be from one of those great teams? Or are we going to see a surprise team? Last year was Budenholzer in Atlanta. Are we going to see in Atlanta this year? Is there going to be a surprise team that's going to come over and take over and win a bunch of games?
And then fade in the second half of the season and then whimper out of the second round of the playoffs.
Yeah.
Okay. Man, did we prognosticate just about everything we can think of? Player of the year, comeback player of the year?
We haven't picked out a champion.
Oh, well, isn't that a granted? You're going to say that the Memphis Grizzlies are going to win it? I thought that was a given. I'm
going to say the Cavaliers, and I'll tell you why. I think they have the easiest road to the finals, and as long as they're healthy, I see them winning it because it's going to be a grudge match in the West. Watching the teams beat up on each other. It really is. It's going to be very physical basketball in the Western Conference with those top 5, top 6 teams. Very physical basketball.
And like you said, when we finally get there, the Cavs are going to have a lot of big bodies that can stack up.
Yeah, exactly. And it's going to be a dogfight in the West to get seeding this year because you don't want, you're going to want to face the Utah Jazz or the Phoenix Suns, and you're going to want to have that number one. You're going to want to have an easier first round. You're not going to want to sit there and play Memphis or the Clippers or whoever, the Rockets, Golden State or San Antonio. They don't want to face each other in the first round this year. Trust me.
Yeah, because they're teams that can easily take each other out. If there's a couple superstar games from a couple superstar players, it's very possible to imagine that, where it wasn't as possible to be like, wow, the Celtics really could knock the Cavs out last year. Like, that wasn't very possible. But in the West, there's a lot of teams that could do it. People at some point thought the Celtics were even going to give the Cavaliers a run for their money. It didn't even get close. Yeah. Well, all right. So, I'm picking the Cleveland Cavaliers, too. They've added enough players. They've kept their core intact. They got Varejao back. They're getting Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving back. I as long as LeBron's back is okay, then I think the Cavs are the team to beat as well. That's where I'm going to put my money. But, of course, I'm a homer, and that's why I host a show called The Unhappy Hour. Zak Baris, former NBA scout, current NBA consultant, longtime Cleveland sports fan. I appreciate you joining our program again today,
Brian,
buddy.
thanks as always for having me on the show. I always enjoy it.
And I'm so happy this time of year.
I'm looking forward to hope these predictions come true at the end of the season.
Lord Almighty, I sure hope so. And while the Buckeyes are doing fantastic, I'm sure getting tired of the Cleveland Browns. So this time of year, bringing in the basketball, especially with LeBron James and the Cavs, I'm very excited for it, man. So man, you have a great weekend. We'll be talking again soon. And go Cavaliers!
You too.
All right, take care. There he goes, everybody. Zak Baris. Like I said, if you're not following him on Twitter, he's at ZBaris. That's ZBaris. If you're not linked up with us, you're missing out. YouTube.com/The New American Media. Click subscribe, comment on the videos like our other pals are doing, like Greg and UFC is MMA and everybody else on our Agree to Disagree shows. We got some good content there. Just check it all out. Look around. We're doing something. We're building something here, and we're happy you're all a part of it. Our homepage is called thenewamericanmedia.com. I think our Edward Snowden interview. We were at an event where Edward Snowden was interviewed. That should be the featured video on thenewamericanmedia.com, and underneath that is the TNAM radio button where you click play to listen to our show live. Underneath that is our Facebook feed. You can do a search or just take it off our homepage, The New American Media. And our Twitter feed is at American_media_. So yeah, Buckeyes are doing well. They changed their quarterback over to J.T. Barrett. Let's see if that produces more of the consistent, explosive offensive play that the Buckeyes have become known for under Urban Meyer. Because if we're going to win a title this year, I think we need to be firing on all cylinders. Cardale Jones just hasn't been getting it done. Cleveland Browns, who the heck knows what's going on with that team? They look like a dumpster fire, but I really feel like they're maybe a 2-game winning streak away from just totally changing the culture, but maybe that's just the tortured sports fan within me that's always going to think that. Who knows? I was really hoping the Cubs were going to be in the World Series because Back to the Future predicted it. They did not, sadly. Cubs are out. I don't even know who I'm pulling for now. I was looking for the underdog. But hey, for everybody out there on the Pacific over by Mexico, be prepared. Get some water, get some medicine, get a gun. Make sure you have some food. Make sure you have a solar charger. Always be prepared. For everybody out there in the TNAM radio network, I appreciate you. I love you. We'll talk again soon. Peace.
And this is John B. Wells reminding you that not only is Brian Engelman a cool guy, and not only is the newamericanmedia.com a very cool platform, But here's a cool idea for you, too. Are you alone? Not really. Do you like dogs? Do you like cats? You do. Of course you do. Everybody does. One or the other, maybe even both. You know, there are a lot of dogs and cats that are at shelters right now, and if somebody doesn't take them home, they're going to wind up euthanized. That's a nice way of saying they're going to be killed, because there's simply not enough room. I guarantee it, the best dogs and the best cats, the best pets, come from shelters. There's something about dogs and cats. They know. They know where they are. You walk through one of them, and certainly at least one is going to look at you and go, I wish you'd take me home. I'm in hell. Please take me out of here. It'll be the best thing that you ever did for your soul. You'll feel good about it. And not only that, but you have a friend for life. Doesn't matter if you got money, you don't have money. Well, it doesn't make any difference to a dog or cat. All they need is the sound of your voice and maybe even the stroke of your hand, and they're fine. Maybe a little food every once in a while. The sweetest sound that those pets ever hear is your voice. Think it over and adopt a cat or a dog from a local shelter today. I'm telling you, you'll be glad you did.